get your question answered? Let us discuss such things as Marilyn. What was 3? 3 was 8. Oh, and I told you I would do this for you. Your -2, -2 point should be right here. -2, -2. No.
Do we go up or to the side first?
What?
Do we go up and down or to the side first?
It goes left or right first. And down. -2 on the x, -2 on the y. -2 this way, -2 that way. Oh, look at everybody gets papers. I like it. You've done so well so far. Should be an easy test. Colton! All right, children, we have number 6. Wait, Jacob, did you just fall asleep?
What?
Number 6, ladies and gents. Number 6. All right. I will try to describe or explain this to the best of my God-given ability here, ladies and gentlemen. Please understand this. You're not multiplying, so you're not going to get any new letters with different exponents. Okay? 2x squared means that you have 2x squareds added together. Minus 4x squareds really means you have minus 4x squareds. This is kind of really what it means. And if you put all that together, what happens? By the way, you don't have any x to the fourths, Colton. No x to the fourths. A positive x squared cancels out with a negative x squared. A second positive squared cancels out with that one. I don't have any other ones, so what am I left with? I have 2 minus x squareds. Here I have 3 minus y squared, but I have plus 6y squared. 3 of the negatives are going to cross off with 3 of the positives, and you'll still be left with 3 positive y squareds. They don't change exponents. Not when you add and subtract. When you multiply, yes. Adding and subtracting, no. And you can flip that around and make it 3y squared minus 2x squared. Don't make them, never mind. But that is the answer. Occasionally there's an ooh and an ah. Ooh. Other ones? Zachary! Number 2. Evaluate the expression in the problem. All right, and again, Zach, I'm going to tell you, my only word of advice to you is do this on a big sheet of paper where you can use a lot of rooms and use a lot of parentheses. In other words, this. You have a big parenthesis for this one, minus parenthesis for the x, minus parenthesis for the y, and then there's a big parenthesis. Minus big parenthesis for that parenthesis for x, plus parenthesis for y, big parenthesis. Then put in your numbers, because if you don't put parentheses in, you get the addition, subtraction, minus, whatever. X is 3, y is 2. Okay, and this isn't multiplication. Because of the subtraction sign, whatever you get for this parenthesis, you're going to subtract this parenthesis from that parenthesis. A -3 and a -2, that's not multiplying, that's just combining. -3, -2 is a -5. And it's a -5 minus whatever I get here. 3 plus 2 is a +5. Now I have a -5 minus 5. They're both negatives. You get a bigger negative. It's -10. A +5 minus 5 would give you 0, but this is a -5 minus 5. Again, I will tell you, it comes easier if you drew big things rather than just putting numbers in there and trying to think that you're going to get it without whatever they're just saying. Just me. Manny!
19.
No, 19. 19th Amendment is what, children?
Women have the right to vote.
Oh, no.
Whoa.
Tell me why.
Whoa.
Is there a reason why I don't have...
Did you say 13? 19.
Problem number 19. If a softball player has 8 hits and 25 at-bats, what's the probability they'll get a hit at the next at-bat? All right. That, ladies and gentlemen, is this. This is what's called experimental probability because you do it by actually doing the thing. What is the probability? If it just is this, you get 8 hits at 25 at-bats. Okay, that's the probability. The problem is it said change your answer to a decimal in the thousands place. So what is my strategy for changing that fraction to a decimal? There's multiple ones, and depending on which way works for you, you can think about it. There's easier ways, there's more difficult ways. Probably the best way to think about this is a division problem. Okay. What would it? Well, let's not. You could make this. You could put it in the hundreds. How would you get it over 100, Maddie? What's that? Multiply by 100. That wouldn't give me 100 on the bottom. If I want to make this some hundredths, or put 100th on the bottom of my thing, what would I have to do to get this fraction to be 100 on the bottom?
4.
Multiply by 4. So it ends up being 3200. Still doesn't answer my question because it wanted it in 1,000. But how can I change 100 to 1,000? What's that? Nope. How can I change 100 to 1,000? Multiply by what? Multiply by 10. Because this will make this 1,000 down there, and I get 320. Still not my answer because I need to make it a decimal, but it is 320 thousandths. 320. If that at all confused you, then just make this a division problem. You are taking 8 and dividing it by 25. You are taking 8 and dividing it by 25. Put your decimal in there. How many times does 25 go into 80? 3 times, which is 75. How many times does 25 go into 50? Twice. Now, why is that answer wrong? It's not in thousands. It's only in hundreds. You just need to add that 0 to make it in thousands. 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 This is, by the way, where they get batting averages. That's what there is. You're batting 320. You get 320 hits out of 1,000 or 8 out of 25. About twice what Frankie's is. Actually, Frankie, you're a little. You didn't get a lot of sleep last night either. I can just tell based on because you're not. You're.
He was watching the World Series.
Oh, was it again?
No, it was 8th inning and they had a blowout, so I went upstairs.
I'm just saying, you're not quite as quick-witted as you usually are. Don't you think he's a little slow responding today? Just a little. Look at it, and he's like putting all he's playing with his hair and like rubbing his eyes. And... Addie?
Number 9.
Lucky number 9, Joey. Lucky number 9. This again takes a little bit of strategy for you. I guess it doesn't. I guess it doesn't make any difference here. Here's what I would do, Addie, if I were thinking. Are you sure you got all the numbers right? Because did you do an adding and subtracting mistake?
I did it again and I got it after the third try or second try. I got it right. But
You just want me to help you out. Well, here. First of all, it's the decimals that throw people off. All right. So before I get into that, I'm gonna change this to normal whole numbers so we can think about it. What if this was? What if this was? What if this was? I want you to think about what you would do if this was just a -2, this was just a -3, this was a -4, and this was a +6. And don't let the decimals get us. Think about the process we do. If I were putting these together, what would you get for an answer?
-5.
How do you get -5?
Add them.
You add these two together and your answer is negative. So that's I'm going to start off. I have 2.86 and 3.24. I add them together and my answer's negative. Okay? If it was a -6 and another -4, what would you get?
2.
No. -6 and a -4 is -10. When you put two negative numbers together, you get a bigger negative number. You actually add them together and your answer is negative. So now I have to take -6.10 and add, well, just think about as adding it as 4.71 and your answer is going to be negative when you add them together. You get -10.81. Then if I had a -10 and a +6, my answer would be -10, +6.
-4.
And how do you get that? You actually subtract the two numbers. Don't think about what positive and what's negative yet. Is your answer gonna be positive or negative? It's gonna be negative, because your negative number was bigger than your positive number. You still subtract like normal, just know that your answer is going to be negative. So here you get, I hope this is right, after all that. Nothing more anticlimactic than me going through the best explanations in the world just to get the wrong answer. And I don't know what an easier way to tell you that, you know, you can combine all your negative numbers and get your big negative number and then subtract the positive, because that's the difference in the thing there, but there's no real easy way when it comes to make decimals. Kelly? I was hoping somebody would ask me number 20. Were you trying? You think so? Why is that not number 20? You over here, front of Number 20. Number 20. What are you supposed to do? You simply, Kelly, need to put the x number in for x in this equation. So you're going to have to do it 4 times. So again, parentheses would be your friends. 2 times what x is plus 4. In this case, x is negative 2. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, and negative 4 plus 4 is a big fat whopping 0. Do the same thing with 0. I put 2 in for x. 2 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 4 is 4. I put positive 2 in for x. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 4 is 8. And I put 1/2 in for x. Half of 2 is 1. 1 plus 4 is 3. First A. Just because things are getting a little dry, maybe it won't go.
Your answer is incorrect. Sit down.
I hired a professional guy to make that too, by the way. Yes, Frankie?
Okay.
Number 10. Is that the Falcon flying at the speed of 1,000? No. Oh, Frankie, did you use a giant piece of paper to do this?
No.
I always, ladies and gentlemen, when I do this, I always think about this. I get in my head, because of this 3 plus this whole thing, what is the absolute last thing I'm going to do? Because where people usually go wrong, let me do what?
Subtract by 6.
The last thing I'm going to do? The last thing I can tell you do right now, I'm going to tell you is what? Kelly?
Add 3 plus 2.
Well, add 3 plus whatever I get over here.
Yeah.
Because this is all one big term, you get one answer for that, and you're going to take 3 plus whatever that is. I see a lot of people go wrong. They see that 3 plus 2 and automatically they think they should just put a 5 there. You can't do that because 2 times this thing is multiplication, and multiplication has to be done before addition. Okay, so you have to piece this apart all the way there and just make sure you don't do this 3 plus 2, which is what most people end up doing. So I get 3 plus 2. In this thing, 3 plus 5 is 8. That's really the first thing in order of operations because I do grouping symbols. Then inside this thing, I have to do exponents, so it's 3 plus 2, big bracket, 64 minus 6. Then inside the 64 minus 6 is, gosh, I hope I'm doing this right, 58. And then 2 times 58 is 116. And my last step is adding those 2 together, which was 119. How many people added 3 plus 2 together first, somewhere before all that? That would be a big thing. I'd write a note to myself and say, don't do that. Because addition is the last step you do, and that's the addition part of the whole thing. Thai hot pancakes?
How do we do 5?
Oh, I love number 5. this is minus 3x, Ty, right? I'm not changing that. What is a negative 2x? Two negatives put together is
Positive.
positive 2x. And this is just a plus 4x. What do these all mean? This means I have 3 negative x's. This means I have 2 positive x's. And this means I have 4 more positive x's. When all the smoke clears, a negative x cross cancels or cancels out with positive x, a second negative x with a second positive x, a third negative x with a third positive x. I have no other things to cancel out. I am left with how many x's there?
3.
3 of them. 3 x's. And really it's just a matter of adding the numbers in front of the things first. A negative 3 plus 2 is a negative 1, and a negative 1 plus 4 is 3. Like terms, adding and subtracting. Uh-oh. Kelly?
I have 2 questions. What's the answer for number 10, like the answer?
Number who?
10?
The one I just did?
Yeah.
Do you want me to go look at it, or do you want me to read it? I believe
What's the answer?
119.
Oh, okay. And for number 5,
You want the answer for number 5 that I just did as well? That's 3x. Would you like me to go over all the answers of the ones I've already done?
no.
Okay, just checking.
Number 11.
Oh yeah, number 11 I would have thought would have been one somebody would ask long ago. Because I had a number of people ask me this. The Falcon flies at a speed of 114,400 yards per hour. How fast is that flying? Miles per hour. This is what we call unit multipliers or conversion fractions or whatever we called it before. Please understand this, children. The word per is what? No. Technically, you're exactly oppositely wrong. The word per is a fraction line. 114,400 yards per 1 hour. Per means division. And this is all about labels. You are changing it into miles per hour. So what label am I changing? Am I changing hours or am I changing yards? Which one is a unit, a measurement of distance? Because that's what yards is. Huh? Yeah, I'm changing yards into miles. So I am changing yards, top to bottom, because they want to cross off, into miles. Hence the reason they gave you the conversion fraction. There are 1,760 yards per 1 mile. Yards crossed off. If you do multiplication like fractions, you get this times this, which is 114,400 miles over 1,760 hours. And of course, we don't leave it like that because nobody knows what 114,400 miles in 1,760 hours is. You have to simplify that, which means reduce it, which actually means just divide it out, if you will. You know, you could reduce it because you could divide them both by 10, get rid of those 2 ending zeros. Then it's really up to you how you want to do it. How about this? If I cut them, let me just do the division problem. Frankie was all upset about this yesterday. 1144 divided by 176. Which is not easy math, but it's probably not above your, it doesn't go into 1 and it doesn't go into 11, doesn't go into 114, so you got to take it into this 1140. What's your call on that? 7? 7? Might be a little big, is it? What's 176 times 7? 42, 449, 53, 5, yeah, a little big. So it's probably 6. I'll take 6. Nobody's helping me out here, so I'll just do it on my own. 36, 3, 42, 45, 4, 1056. Frankie, did you actually use a calculator on this last time?
Well, we did the wrong problem.
Oh, I wrote down the wrong numbers? Oh, look, you get 80, 80, 880. Does it go into that evenly? My guess is yes. I'm going to guess 176 times 5. Ends with a 0? Good. 36 me 65 what miles per hour? That wasn't so bad, was it? Did I do something wrong? Max?
14.
That was 14. Oh yeah, this was one we talked about, but not a lot, but I will tell you, we won't count it on tomorrow's test because they did talk about it. This is the deal of what you have to do when given a problem such as these. Okay, the first thing you have to know is understand what the set of numbers you're talking about. What are whole numbers? Which means you might want to bring your little sheet of whatever numbers before. Whole numbers are what, Colton?
1, 2.
Well, they start with 0, and they go 1, 2, 3. It's important to note what they're not, actually, which they're not negative numbers. So the question is this. Is it closed under subtraction? And the word closed means that if you get to use any of these numbers, whichever ones you want. You pick any of these numbers and perform this operation. Pick any two whole numbers and subtract them. 8 minus 6. Maybe 15 minus 4. And you subtract them. Will you get a whole number? If you do, then it's closed. Do you always get a whole number when you subtract two whole numbers? I get a 2 and I get 11. Well, those are whole numbers, but can you think of a case in subtraction when you would not get a whole number, or something that would be a decimal or a fraction or a square root number or a negative number or any of those things? Max?
2 minus
2 minus 10 gives you that negative 8, which is not a whole number, so it is not closed. And this is what's called the counterexample. It's the thing that tells you that, no, I can think of something where it's not true. If you could, wait, are we all wearing Bears jerseys for a reason then?
10. To show their appreciation.
Isn't
Best
Khalil,
QBs
Khalil
on
Mack
Bears.
is out?
Sure.
We have a quarterback that understands nothing about the game.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Don't put it on the
I
quarterback.
know. Do you think he'll actually, honestly, what is he, 12 years old? Or, he looks like he's 5.
He does.
He looks like he could be playing in high school. When you give him some experience, maybe they'll look back and say, I remember Justin Fields' first year with the Bears, how terrible he was.
Like, don't
How
have a
bad
good
Matt
offensive-
Nagy
The only
No,
person that was
no,
never
no.
good, that was great from the start, was Michael Jordan. Even his very first game.
Yeah.
The second one.
And the poor, you have to give it to him. The guy, he's been beat to a pulp a number of times, and still comes back and plays, and still kind of smiles about it.
The flu game.
Wait, why do we not have it?
They put the number.
Where's the question out there? Somebody, tie hop.
Number 17.
Another number 17. Oh, I like these, Tyler.
They said 10.
There are 1 blue, 9 red, and 2 yellow marbles in a bag. And Tyler, before even going any farther, I draw an example of that just so I can see it. Well, 1 blue, 9 red, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and what? 2 yellers. If you want to color code it, that would work too. What is the probability of choosing a red marble, Tyler? Which just means how many total marbles are there and how many of them are red. How many total marbles do we have there, Tyler?
12.
12. And how many of the 12 are red?
9.
And that would reduce down to 3/4. And they said you could leave that as that. They actually gave the decimal. They also gave the percent, of which I wouldn't, but they did. Either one of those 3 is acceptable, I guess, since they said it was. Frankie, did you get your 18 answered?
Like 18?
Oh wait, which one was it? Which one was the one where you said, could you have this or that or that?
Oh, yeah.
Use word, no, was that it? Expression m minus 9. What did you say?
You said if you use negative 9, it would work.
What did you put?
I put parenthesis, negative m, parenthesis.
You wrote that in words? You wrote parentheses in words? Because it says to write in words.
No.
You want you could write out m minus 9, or you could write 9 is being subtracted from n, then 9 subtracted from m. You could write, what, the difference of m and 9? I don't know, could you have something else? 9 less than m? Nothing out there? This has been a whirlwind thing. I would even fall asleep in this one. Cal?
12.
Did we do that one already? Just making sure. There's always chances. They are just asking you this, Cal. They said if x equals 4, if you put 4 in for x, is this true? Is 4 plus 4 9?
No.
So then the answer to this would be no. It's not a solution. X equals 4 is not a solution. Jacob!
Number 3.
No, not number 3. What about number 3? We'll give her control on number 3. Again, did I told you the same thing I told whoever asked me, Zach? You must, if you really struggle with this, it's a very good idea to write down parenthesis A times B parenthesis plus big parenthesis A times B times C. Okay, this addition sign is important because you're going to simplify this down to a number and then you're going to add whatever that is down to or whatever number there. So let's look and see what we end up with here. A is negative 2. A is negative 2. B is 2. And C is negative 3. So what is negative 2 times 2? Negative 4. You don't have to put parentheses, but sure, let's do it. What is a negative 2 times a negative 3? 2 negatives mean you're going to have a positive inside that thing. And 2 times 2 times 3 is 12. So what is negative 4 plus 12? 8. 4 negatives, 12 positives. You can put plus 8 if you want, but there's no real reason to do it. What'd you get, Jacob?
I put negative 4 instead of positive 12.
And there is the crux of the matter. Don't worry, kids. Tomorrow's rough for October Luther Bowling Fest. Oh, I should put Bowling Fest in there too. Rough day all the way around.
Tired.
You say you're tired?
Hello.
Did you say who's tired, are you or Frankie?
I don't know.
Hi ha.
You do 7?
I hope so. Back in the day. 7, 8, 9. Tyler, what property do we use when we simplify this? What do we call that property? I don't think I've ever used this color, by the way. What do? Distributive property. There's a reason why, which means you multiply that negative 3 times both of those things. Negative 3 times x, Ty? Is
3x.
negative 3x. What's negative 3 times a negative 3?
Oh, there's
You got lots of notes you can write for yourself. Really, nobody else? We should make a deal that if we average what percent as a grade, we will never have math again. What would that be?
Did it for it's a minus?
Everybody, if we had an average of 100%,
Yep.
or a 105, huh?
Wow, 100%. Is it?
Where are we at back there? I know there's somebody else.
Oh, that's true.
I know you're burning to ask a question, just don't. Haven't done it yet. Anybody? Raise them high. Ty?
how to do number 4, or just how to graph a little bit.
How to graph a little bit or a lot?
I just mean like what numbers, like how to show. like which numbers, like I'm so
That's good
confused.
to know. Here we go,
Which
Ty, look.
numbers do that.
Here, let's say you have 3 comma negative 2. The first number given is your x number, which is also your over number. So I start, if you're really confused on this, start at the origin, which is 0, 0. Go 3 over, 1, 2, 3, that's positive 3. And this number is your y number, which is your up or down number. If it's negative, you go down. If it's positive, you go up. So over 3, down 2. That's 0.3 comma negative 2. If it was negative 4 comma 1, negative 4 is the over number. To go over negative 4, I'd have to go this direction. And this is positive, so I go up 1. Negative 4, 1. Does that help? Tyler, where would, let me give you one. Where would 1 comma negative 5 be? Here, come draw me a dot. I don't let people very often come up to the board, but
It's a special day.
1, negative 5. 1 over, up or down 5.
It would be like right here.
Oh, well, there's a 5 right there, but it is there, yes. It's 1 over. Jacob! What's that?
Number 1.
Right? Jacob, what does the word increased mean? If I increased your age by 5, how old would you be?
How'd you know?
19.
Alright, so what did you do? You simply added 5. They're just asking you to take C, whatever C is, this would be yours, add 5 to it. That's all. If it was decreased, it'd be minus. If it was, you know, this is your algebraic expression. Notice it's an expression. It's not an equation because they don't tell you things that are equal. They just tell you whatever the things are. Kelly!
Can you see the answer, or can you do number 5 again?
Wait, did you say again? Again?
Wait, wasn't that the one she asked?
I asked that
No,
one.
no, so. Alright, Kelly, here we go again. Notice there are no, you're adding all these together. You're not multiplying, so there won't be any x squareds. There's no x cubes in your answer. You are just combining. You have minus 3 x's. That means you have 3 minus x's. That's what negative 3x means. This one is a minus. 2 minuses put together always gives you a positive. So this ends up being plus 2 x's. That's 2x. See, this is the same as a minus 3x. This is a plus 2x. And then you have 4 more x's added to that. 4 more x's. So when you put them all together, again you're adding, you're not multiplying. I don't get x to the 15th power or whatever. A positive x cancels out with a negative x because the opposites are going to go away. If you add something, you know, plus 5 and a negative 5 gives you 0. Another negative x crosses off with a positive x, and a third negative x crosses off with another positive x. No other negatives to cross off, so you left with this. What is, how many x's are you left with?
4.
There's my 3 of them.
Wait, how did that one cross off?
What's that? Which one?
I have 4.
Well, Kelly, there were 3 minus ones here, right? And this one only had 2 plus ones. So 2 of the 3 crossed off with this, and then 1 of the 4 that were left over here had to cross off with that other third one.
What's the answer to number 15?
16?
15.
17 is a negative 11. Could be worse, it could be raining in here. Just so you know, Maryland.
There be so
Oh, they
confused and so
sound
confused.
There's who?
There be so confused and so
It
confused.
is. Tyler learned one thing. She started 8th grade. And that's a good one to learn. All right, children, I am stopping at 35.